The Economic and Organized Crimes Office says it has concluded its investigations into the controversial Social Security and National Insurance Trust ICT infrastructure scandal, which dominated the headlines last year. Well, we all know it involved the procurement of ICT infrastructure for the trust, which turned out to have racked up over $72 million in expenses, well over the initial amount estimated for the project. The acting chief executive of EOCO, ACP retired KK Amwa, tells my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson that the outcome of the investigations have since been forwarded to the Attorney General's office. He was speaking after the inauguration of a 9-member governing board for the anti-graft body.
Investigation. Right. Yes, we've concluded investigation. We concluded investigation, I think, at the tail end of November. And the docket is with the Attorney General's office.
And so what is happening at the moment? Since
the Attorney General is studying the docket. And you'll still hear from the Attorney General's office.
Because Ghanaians would want to see their money is being retrieved, which is your mandate specifically to help fight crime.
We have concluded investigations into that matter. Some officers are being held responsible. The docket is at Attorney General's department. And so Attorney General is studying the docket and will soon come out with the result of the investigation.
How soon should we expect
I don't work at Attorney General's department.
But of course, wouldn't you be interested in...
You see, the process is that when you submit docket to Attorney General's office, you don't put pressure on AG's office because there's a pile-up of cases there. So you allow them to work on it. And I believe they as far as I know, they have worked on that docket. And very soon you will hear a result on that.
I see. And with the Electoral Commission case, to how far have you gone with us?
Electoral Commission case, I don't want to make further comment on it because it is still a matter that is being handled. So let's end it that way.
So we don't know timelines, you don't have timelines for...
No, see, in investigation, you don't give time. But you only have to take time and conclude it. We don't give time about it. So let's take it so.
I see.
I inherited backlog cases, and there are a lot of backlog cases. There are a lot of cases at my office. Every day you receive a complaint. Every day you receive a complaint. And when you receive a complaint today, you need to take time to investigate, months. And every day there's a case. So you can imagine.
Do you foresee that will stampede your work?
No. It's a process. You know, I've been an investigator for over 30 years, so I know the process.
So no. You will need more resources to...
That is what the Attorney General said.
So it means that it will be a challenge for you to formulate the policies to fight...
It is not a challenge. I know that if you go to an investigative outfit, you're going to meet that challenge. You are not going to meet an empty desk. No. A lot of cases that are inherited. I'm handling it. And there are more.
Government has acknowledged the many challenges the Economic and Organized Crimes Office is having to deal with, from staffing to adequate funding and inadequate logistics. Well, the Attorney General, Gloria Kufu, at the inauguration of its 9-member governing board, is however hopeful the new board will be able to discharge its responsibilities regardless of the challenges. Again, Kwesi Parker-Wilson has more.
One of the main challenges the AG noted is the inadequate staff numbers at the investigative body.
There is no gainsaying. There are a lot of problems that are facing EOCO as of now. Staffing, accommodation, especially in the regions, delays in dealing with investigations because of the short numbers. EOCO happens to be one of the agencies under this ministry, as you're aware. We need a minimum of 600 lawyers, attorneys for the establishment. We are working with half of that as of now. We have sought permission to recruit. We have been given permission to recruit only 50. And we have accepted as many as over 200 applications that we are having to choose from. I have started my visits to the regions, and I've had occasion to meet with some of the officials of EOCO. And the situation is very dire. So I will not deceive you. You have a lot to do. But I commit on my part to assist the board without interfering in your endeavors to direct the operations at EOCO. And I am hopeful that now that you are in office, things will begin to improve at EOCO.
Board Chair Justice Alan Bobby, a retired justice of the Supreme Court, assured the minister of their readiness to live up to the task.
The objects of the office, as they are well known, are inter alia to prevent and detect organized crimes and generally to facilitate the confiscation of proceeds of crime. In this era of technological advancements, offenses like cyber crimes, internet fraud, transcontinental criminal activities which result in crimes are obviously rampant. It is our hope to do our best to formulate policies that will promote the investigation and prosecution of such crimes and other offenses that fall within the jurisdiction of the office.
Other members of the board include the Executive Director, ACP retired KK Amwa, Executive Secretary of the Narcotics Control Board, Francis Kofi Tokonu, and Deputy Commissioner of Internal Audit at the Ghana Revenue Authority. It also has two high-ranking officers from the Ghana Police Service, the Director General of CID, Mami Yatiwa Adodankwa, and Director General Operations, Dr. George Ekofodampari. The Director of Operations Response Center, National Security Council Secretariat, is also a member of the board. For Joy News, I am Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Holding the office of.
Well, we'll move away from crime, and the Food and Drugs Authority will soon prosecute media houses and advertisers found to have flouted the restricted alcohol advertisement time regulation. The head of communications for the FDA, James Latte, says the authority is going all out to enforce the regulation to ensure sanity in the media and airways for public safety. He said this at a media encounter at Ho, the Volta regional capital. Fred Kwame Asari now reports.
The Food and Drugs Authority in January 2018 relaunched its enforcement of the regulation on the restricted alcohol advertisement time on television and radio. As part of the enforcement, the FDA has embarked on a nationwide sensitization to enlighten media practitioners on the regulation to ensure they are abreast with it. The head of communications at the Food and Drugs Authority, James Latte, noted the authority is poised to regulate advertisement of drugs and alcohol in the media to ensure public safety. He revealed the FDA has set up a surveillance system in the media and has identified some media houses that have failed to comply with the regulations and would soon be prosecuted.
I must indicate that since this enforcement started, media stations have been very compliant, I must admit that. But there are some few that we notice that are still airing. We have made recordings, it's been forwarded to the police, and I know they'll definitely take action according to provisions in the law.
The FDA also intends to ensure health facilities do not advertise or use unapproved medical products on patients or advertise medicine for diseases that are not permitted to be advertised.
If, for instance, a clinic is advertising diseases for which the law cannot permit, FDA has every right to walk into the clinic and be sure of the products that are being used there. Are they registered products? Because when you look into the law says it's very clear that every product that is manufactured, imported, distributed, sold, or used in this country should be registered by the FDA. I'm talking about FDA-regulated products, but registered by the FDA. So if you're advertising for cure and things, we have every right to find out the products you are using, whether they are registered products. Again, if they are registered products, you need approval before you even go ahead to advertise for those products. So all these things, FDA is making sure we are enforcing them.
Media houses were encouraged to adhere to the regulation to avoid being sanctioned. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
The National Board for Small-Scale Industries, in partnership with the Association of Small-Scale Industries, has launched an apprenticeship to entrepreneurship program to contribute to the reduction of unemployment among the youth in the Hohoe municipality of the Volta region. This intervention program would see over 1,000 young people equipped with vocational and entrepreneurial skills, all in a bid to enhance their creativity and also create jobs for the teeming youth in the area.
The success of the pilot phase of an apprenticeship program, which commenced in 2015 and saw over 700 youth trained, motivated the NBSSI to roll out the apprenticeship to entrepreneurship program. This to ensure youth in the municipality are well positioned to tap into the various opportunities that would come along with the completion of the Eastern Corridor Road network. Beneficiaries would be trained by master craftspersons in any vocation of their choice free of charge for a 3-year period under the program. Operators of small and medium-scale enterprises would also benefit from the program, where they would be equipped with the culture of corporate social responsibility. Speaking at the launch, the Executive Director of NBSSI, Kosi Yankee, entreated the beneficiaries to be committed to the training and assured of government's commitment to ensure the youth are equipped with vocational and employable skills.
1. Apprentice, be committed to what you have to do. Put in your energy and dedicate your time. And know that we are also supporting you by making sure that the right training programs are available, by making sure that if there's anything you need or resource to make your programs and your entrepreneurship projects go well, we'll be there to support you. So please keep working hard and stay committed.
Thank you.
Master craftsperson, please open your hearts. This is a job of service. It is a commitment. Work as if you are working for the Lord, and work hard to support the apprentice so that they can also be successful.
Thank you.
It is not about us and how much money we make. It's about.
And before we go, let's look at this. Former President John Agyekum Kufuor is lamenting the continuous decline in cocoa production, a phenomenon he notes began after the country hit a projected 1 million metric tons in 2010. He blames the trend partly on policy changes by successive governments, especially those to do with the free mass spraying of farms and the fertilizer subsidy program, among others. Mr. John Agyekum Kufuor wants the trend to change so Ghana's cocoa prospects could be fully harnessed. He's been speaking at the launch of a book, The Cocoa Coast, the board-managed cocoa sector in Ghana, by the International Food Policy Research Institute here in Accra. And the following report is by Komla Adom.
The times I became president in 2001, farmers had started felling their trees to grow things like citrus, because the farmer had become aware of the cheating by the government, by the state. When my government decided to use the high-tech and other methods to rearrange matters in the sharing of international price, we gave a bigger portion of the international price to the farmer, and then decided to spray all farms everywhere for the farmers free, and also to subsidize the fertilizers for them. We also revitalized the extension department, and truly within 3 years or so, the produce jumped from 340 or 50,000 tons 2001 to over 700,000 tons, I think by 2004-05. 700,000 tons at that time was all-time record. And we predicted in 2006 that by 2010, Ghana would hit the million-ton mark, which happened. The expectation was that Ghana would continue to grow from there. It didn't happen. And why? Because the facilities we put at the disposal of the small farmer were not sustained. And so we are suffering a slippage.
He wants successive governments to invest in appropriate and sustainable policies which will raise the profile of Ghana's cocoa and improve the lot of farmers.
But the government is talking of industrialization, adding value to raw materials and things like that. And the more we diversify, the more would be the sources of revenue. Cocoa might gradually recede from being a monocrop. There will be other sources of. Just last week, the government launched a cashew nuts project over the next 10 years. Cashew apparently is enjoying a bigger international market price these days than even cocoa. So if government would stay the course seriously, times would come when cocoa would have at least a twin crop. And so the economy wouldn't be too dependent on cocoa alone.
Mr. Kufuor is of the view colonial pricing of cocoa back in the Gold Coast has led to the situation where governments determine buying price of the commodity at the expense of the farmers. Meanwhile, Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, Professor Felix Asante, has hit hard at Cocoa Board, demanding more accountability from the body.
After 2010-2011, the production has started going down, and it's going down gradually. Can Cocoa Board tell us how long we are going to go down before we move up? I don't think they have the answer. Okay, and these are part of the accountability issues that Cocoa Board should be able to tell us, because we cannot allow cocoa just to keep on dropping. So if tomorrow we get up and every cocoa tree is cut down and is replaced with rubber, the government has nothing to say. So I think we need to really look at how Cocoa Board is what they are doing, because one of these days we'll get up and there will be no cocoa in Ghana. Cocoa Board will be empty.
And that's it for the news, but we have a lot more news. We'll be reviewing the newspapers and also the various online portals. You can get interactive. Facebook, JoyNews on TV. We're live there. We also have a channel on YouTube, My Joy Online TV. And as always, you can catch us as you give us your tweets through our handle at JoyNews on TV. Well, today we told you we have exciting issues to talk about, exciting conversation. You may have known that over the last couple of weeks, we've heard a number of prophecies that arguably many of us have heard in our lifetimes. So today on the front burner we'll be discussing, we'll be having in the studio Christelle, and Christelle is with the Roverman production team. We have a great partnership and they will always be joining us. We'll have great discussions, myself, Mamavi Sabwaji and the rest of the team. We'll be looking at the prophecies, how they affect us, whether they do affect us at all. Should we be afraid? Are you afraid of any prophecy given by a man of God or a Malam or a Muezzin, for example? And then we're talking about all the buzz about Black Panther on the various stages across the cinemas in the world and what you think about.